What's up, YouTube? How you doing? How you doing? This we're gonna be about Jermaine Jackson's musical influences. You know, Jermaine was the bassist in the Jackson Five, the original lead singer, and them doing co-leads, and quite a successful career as a singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and also a discovery of talents, including switching the DeBarge train, which he brought to Motown, and Stephanie Mills, along with being a self-contained musician himself. But I always like to find out his influences. You know, it was a big deal for a young teenage kid who was singing and playing bass at the same time. Because when you're doing those keys and stuff, you know, to be able to do that said a lot about him. And he was also playing notes that he didn't compose. It was done by Motown and the studio musicians, but he incorporated those on stage. So what a testimony to him. So here's some of his music influences was Jackie Wilson, James Brown, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder. And on the bass, James Jamerson, Wilton Felter, and Larry Graham. Now let me go over all these. Marvin Gaye was an obvious influence because of the harmonies and the vocals and the leads that he would do. You could definitely hear that on what Jermaine was putting down as a vocalist. And Jackie Wilson with a light tone and in the type of manner with certain pitch tone, you could definitely hear that. James Brown, because with the groove. And so, you know, it was definitely something that you could not escape. So those were pretty obvious ones. Now we get to him as a bassist with James Jamerson, who was the innovator. And in Motown Records, the man played on pretty much everything of the records. You can definitely, like, there is no escaping Jamerson. So that's an obvious one. Now, Wilton Felter, who was the bassist and saxophonist for the Jazz Crusaders, actually was playing the bass on I Want You Back. He actually was doubling up. Joe Sample, the keyboardist in the Crusaders, was also playing on that session. So he had a great introduction to learning the scales and the chords and the progression. So what a lesson to be learned. And then, of course, the Jackson Five in that early aspect was influenced by Sly and the Family Stone, and so many others were. So Larry Graham's bass playing had to be a big part on Jermaine Jackson. Also, I heard the Five Star Steps, they used to groove with them too. So, you know, when you're doing the musicians and the playing, Jermaine was a bad dude. Jermaine was a bad dude. As an instrumentalist in the family, he may have been the baddest, with Randy being a close second because, you know, and Michael was tough as a songwriter. And he played keyboards and he definitely got down on drums. But that's another story, another video. But Jermaine, overall, for his musicianship, he could play. And his bass playing was top tier. So anyway, for considering being a kid act, playing those songs, especially the ones that he didn't have any hand in writing any of the chords or any of the bass parts, to a